Hey guys, Dr. Morse, Injury Experts, welcome. We just finished a really good game in the Bengals and Chargers, despite the way it ended. Unfortunately, someone had to lose that game. Now, we're going to talk about the injuries that occurred in Week 11 and a couple of updates for tomorrow night's game and heading into Week 12. If you haven't been here before, I'm Dr. Jesse Morse, a sports medicine physician from Miami. And this is the YouTube channel for the Injury Experts. You may be watching on the Twitter version. If you are looking for timestamps, you will have to head over to YouTube in order to get them. So Anthony Richardson bounced back beautifully today. We didn't really know what to expect, but it looks like he cleaned his act up and had a great game. No questions. Drake May looked absolutely incredible. He made a couple, poor decisions, but overall, I am happy he is the future of the franchise I cheer for. Taysom Hill, come on down and have yourself an absolutely ridiculous day. He was a one-man wrecking crew today and probably single-handedly won you a matchup, especially since he usually gets 5 points and he got 40-something. But overall, just an absolute hell of a game, and just hats off to him. There were a fair share of injuries today. Some of the guys aren't particularly concerning, and some of the guys may be a little bit concerning. We'll have to see how it plays out. There were no quarterbacks that got injured today that I'm aware of yet, which is good news. There were a couple coming in that were banged up, but as of right now, no new injuries to quarterbacks, so that's good news. Tyjae Spears potentially suffered a concussion. I did not see if he returned. I haven't heard any notification of that. He had been banged up with a hammy. Pollard had been banged up with a foot injury. Both played today, but unfortunately, Tyjae Spears left the game early with a likely concussion. We will have to see how that plays out for next week. Raheem Moster suffered a hip injury. I think he eventually came back into the game, but I don't think he did a whole lot. Devon Achane ended up having a really good game, which he's been doing with Tua. Both of the Las Vegas Raiders running backs got injured. Alexander Mattison with an ankle and Zamir White with a quad. And Brock Bowers set the rookie record for most receiving targets and receptions in a game with, 13 or something? It was crazy. What an absolute monster game from him. Jacoby Myers didn't do the best, though. Darnell Mooney, unfortunately, tweaked his hamstring. We don't know the severity. Remember, he came into the game tweaking his Achilles on, I think it was Thursday. So he's, already a little banged up. We don't know if this is the same side or opposite sides. I believe they have a bye next week. So there's a possibility he could return in week 13 if everything goes perfect. But realistically, we really won't probably know till maybe the end of this week, probably not even for the following week. So it may be a good 10 or 15 days before we hear anything about this, just depending on how forthcoming they decide to be. Puka Nacua made an absolute ridiculous catch into the end zone, full, Superman, just beautiful catch, landed really hard. It was hard to see if he landed on his sternum, if he landed on his shoulder. Could be an AC sprain. It looked like more of a knock the wind out of him. Landed hard on his chest. But he came back and balled out. But that was a hell of a catch. We didn't get specifics on the injury that I saw. Another guy who had a better day than I was expecting him to is DJ Moore. He left briefly and then, per his usual, returned, and we never had an update on exactly what he was dealing with. T. Higgins took a huge shot tonight in his back, in his low back. This could be anything from, a little vertebrae to just a bad bruise to a rib cartilage to a rib fracture. He balled out the rest of the night, so it could be nothing. Adrenaline keeps pumping. The swelling and inflammation hasn't started yet. So once it does, he's probably going to be sore at the minimum. But it was nice to see him bounce back. I think I may have seen him limp off the field. I hope he did not re-aggravate his quad, which would be super concerning. So we'll keep an eye on that. Despite them losing the game, he played absolutely incredible. Gabe Davis has been pretty much irrelevant this year. Suffered a knee injury after dealing with multiple, I think it was shoulder injuries. Ladd McConkey suffered a right AC sprain, probably a type 1, early in the game. Went back, probably get x-rays, making sure they were negative. And he came back and he caught some monster catches at the end of the game. The kid is just talented. I really, really liked him. His injury history is absolutely bananas, but he stays in the game. He balls out. He's got a great knack for catching. Kind of reminds me of a young Cooper Kupp, kind of, just a hard-nosed kid that is great at running routes and catching the ball. Brian Thomas Jr. had a heck of a game. I think he got injured late in the game, but didn't really say a whole lot of what it was, despite, Mac Jones. There's some rumblings that after their bye next week that we may see Trevor Lawrence come back. So do not sell him low. Wait for him to potentially come back, and he could ball out for the rest of the year and potentially win some people some titles if Trevor Lawrence is able to come back with his non-throwing shoulder AC sprain, probably a type 3. Josh Oliver with an ankle injury, not really relevant, but just mentioning it. And Foster Moreau with a shoulder injury for the Saints that eventually came back. There's a couple other players that I wanted to discuss that are playing tomorrow night, and a couple that should be on the mend for next week. CeeDee Lamb suffered a back injury in addition to coming off of that shoulder injury for a couple weeks ago. Obviously, as Cooper Rush throwing to him, the back injury is not expected to sideline him. This kid is a very hard worker. He knows his body really well. He's in fantastic shape. I don't really have any concerns per se. I think he'll get peppered with targets. And I think there's a very good chance, while they might lose, I think he'll probably hit his overs. As far as Nico Collins, he is good to go, and we could see a top 5 performance tomorrow night. There is a chance he could go for 100, 150, something insane like that. CJ Stroud is just a different quarterback when he is available. So I'm looking forward to seeing Nico Collins back on the field tomorrow. Isiah Pacheco, there's rumblings, as I've been projecting for about 6 weeks now, that he will be healthy next week. I would not be surprised if they brought him out and back to give that a nice 1-2 punch. Kareem Hunt has filled in admirably, but he's not Isiah Pacheco. And I think you guys are going to remember how hard this kid runs when you see him. And Mike Evans should be back next week after his hamstring strain, assuming no setbacks this week. So a nice potential bounce back for him. The odds of him getting another 1,000-yard season are pretty low unless he goes absolutely nuclear for the rest of the season. But it'll be nice to get him back on the field. I'll give one little shout out to my new company. If somebody is looking for any natural pain relievers, any people with back pain, low back pain, even like osteoarthritis, my gym rats like myself, the CrossFit guys, I created a supplement that basically is an all-natural version of ibuprofen. You can check it out at allnaturalrelief.net. And I've got a bunch of stuff for Amazon, a bunch of stuff coming out. But it's just a little passion project I've been working on for about a year. I will fill you in later in the week. Thank you for tuning in. We will head into week 12. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, I'd love to hear them. We will see you later this week and as well as next week, same place, same time. Take care.